Hey everybody, I'm up here in Ashton, Ontario. Yes, they let me cross the border, believe it or not. I'm here at Synergy Farm and Forge. Mark and Lauren Struthers at the Eastern Ontario Farriers Association 8th annual block party for charity, where they'll be speaking about living with laminitis. One of the speakers last year I was invited up to present and do a demo on negative palmar and plantar angles, and I felt it was really important for me to come back. This is a great venue. A lot of farriers show up from the Ontario area, veterinarians, and it's a great platform to share information. They always have great speakers, and later on in the day, they do stuff with music for charity.
Brad Snyder, and I'm from Minnedosa, Manitoba.
How many years have you been in the business?
This year it will be 15 years.
How'd you get into the business?
I went to school out in Olds, Alberta. They That was the first year they had the 2-year diploma program out there, and then the way that program worked was it was 6 months of in school learning, 6 months of apprenticeship on the job apprenticeship, and then 6 months of schooling, 6 months of apprenticeship. So that's how I kind of got started in the trade, was through that.
Yeah. Anybody in the family, like totally, were you ever into horses?
I've always loved horses. I've always, enjoyed horses. None of my family's ever had anything to do with horses, so I'm first generation
Okay.
farrier. Yeah.
We're going to dive right in. What, if anything, you wish people knew about what we do that maybe they don't know? Like
Uh,
it's something you struggle with owners when it comes to their horses and shoeing.
So I think one thing a lot of owners and some people in the horse community, whether owners or not, is they I don't think they realize the amount of time we put into our trade outside of working hours, whether it be studying, answering the phone, doing business work, in the forging, stuff like that. I don't think they realize the amount of time that we put into it.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that is? If
Um,
you were to guess.
I I don't know. Yeah, I'm not too sure why. I think they just think we show up at 8 in the morning, and when we're done the last horse, that's it for the day. But unfortunately, we're not just horseshoers. We are business owners, and I think that's something that just I don't think it's a malicious thing or anything by that means. I think it's just something that people don't think about. That
Right.
yeah.
Okay. The work is difficult. We both know that physically, mentally. What keeps you engaged and continuing to do it?
Stuff like this, coming to different certifications, taking different exams, clinics, competing, meeting other farriers from all walks of life and stuff. Kind of keeps me engaged, and you'll hear it 100 times from 100 different people. Isolation is the biggest issue that farriers run into, getting burnout. So for me,
Yeah.
I think staying in this type of setting with like-minded people sure keeps me motivated for sure. Yeah.
Nice. If you could wave a magic wand, what, if anything, would you be doing differently with your life, your business? What keeps you from making said change to achieve magic wand dream?
I think at the beginning, I wish I treated it more like a business, and set myself up for retirement. That would have been a big help for me, being 15 years in, and just kind of starting to realize that out. I wish I was a little smarter about that. And That's on the business side. On the farrier side, maybe starting out, kind of got with a few more farriers. I worked with a fantastic farrier. Been on the Canadian team 100 times and stuff like
Who's
that.
that?
Adam Dagenstein
Okay.
out of Vernon, BC. I worked with him for almost 6 years, but it was mainly solely with him, and I think it would have broadened my horizon a little bit just to see other ways of doing things and talking to other people. But that doesn't take anything away from Adam. He's fantastic. We still talk on a daily and stuff like that. But yeah.
Cool. Give me one story about a success that you've had in the business.
Um, in the business, I'll do on a more personal note is is completing my journeyman. Back in, it would have been 2014, maybe I passed my journeyman, and then a couple years after that, my ASF through the fits testing system. Those have been huge accomplishments for me. I can't say I've magically fixed any horse or anything like that. I think it's you help them along and they fix themselves. So I don't have many stories of magically fixing horses. More of a personal thing.
But has there been in your work experience like a horse or two horses or something that like, and again, we know how difficult the job is, but like you did what you needed to do and you got the positive outcome and like you walked away saying like, yeah, I'm so glad I did X, Y, and Z to get there.
I had a horse and I still do this horse. He's a Western Pleasure horse. His name's Bentley. He's a great horse, lovely owners. And the first time I was contacted by these people, I was under the impression what they had told me was the horse was abscessing on both his front feet. And I went out and it wasn't abscessing. It was sinking through the bottom. It was coffin bones coming out of both front feet. And luckily, I had been, prepping for my ASF and other higher exams, and so I was able to make some W shoes for this horse that was not in a good state. He was not looking very good, and between the vet and myself and serious diet changes for this horse, it was back showing within a year, and still lives a happy, healthy life. It's barefoot now. So that's been a really cool one for me, and not knowing exactly what I was walking into, that kind of makes me a little proud. But
Yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
Bentley's doing good. Retired now, living his best life out in the field and bossing all the mares around. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. All right, one more for you. If you could improve one thing about the business, what would it be and why?
I was talking to a couple of the vet podiatrists here that are going to be talking later this afternoon, and I think we've all agreed that it is getting better, but the discord between vets farrier relationship, and it is getting much better. I think vets are starting to see where we're coming from, and we're starting to understand where the vets are coming from as well. So I think that gap is getting quite smaller, but I think we'd all love to see it get even smaller
Yeah.
yet.
Do you
So.
have issues like I actually studying that type of stuff for the University of Edinburgh? Do you have issues collaborating with vets? If so, and why? If not, why do you think it works for you?
I don't have too many issues. I've got great relationships with a number of vets in my area. Uh, they've been great. We can talk, we can discuss things and have a conversation. There are times where I wouldn't say we butt heads, but we have different ways about going about it. But we've all realized that the end result is the animal, and however we get there, it doesn't matter if I win or they win, or it's a team collaboration. So I don't have too many issues, and I think honestly the reason that is because I have been willing to listen, have conversations, not get defensive, and I have enough knowledge and can talk to vets in a professional manner. I know my anatomy. I'm pretty comfortable with anatomy, and we can talk. I can, I'm pretty handy with reading X-rays and stuff like that. So just having an education about it has helped me out, and being professional and yeah. So I haven't had too many issues.
Do you think that's part of like the problem is maybe some of the guys and girls in the industry, our industry, shoeing, maybe are lacking that education or lacking that ability to talk on that level?
It may be to a small point, but again, I'm talking to these two gentlemen that are here today that are going to be speaking. I think the biggest issue, and I kind of brought it up, is I don't think the vets know what type of farrier they're going to be dealing with, right? Uh, they don't know if they're just a part timer that doesn't have many skills in the forge, or you know does his own or anything like that. So they don't know what type of skill level the farrier is going to have. So what does most farriers have in the truck are wedge pads. They can buy egg bars. They're easy enough to cover a foot with. They're really hard to fit a foot, but they're hard to cover, or they're easy to cover. So I think that's the main thing. I don't think it's a lack of knowledge on a farrier basis. I think it's just the vet doesn't know what type of farrier they or foot professional they have.
Okay.
So that would be my guess,
Okay.
anyways.
Cool.
Terry Osborne. I've been in showing horses for 45 years.
What area are you from up here?
Mostly right around this area.
Okay. What type of horses do you mostly do?
Hunter jumpers
Okay.
and some dressage.
Okay. What got you into the business?
Just the love of the horses, and I had horses of my own, and watching the guy that's showing my horses, and I thought that would be an interesting career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could improve one thing about the business, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's a bit of a tough one. But the business has changed so much over the years, and for the positive, most of it. Just more education availability.
Okay. Yeah.
There seems to be a very strong focus on competing and shoemaking, where the majority of farriers don't do that, don't compete, they
Okay.
don't make shoes. So I think I feel they could use more education.
Yeah. How does that benefit for people that don't know the industry? Practicing, competing, shoemaking, how does that improve a farrier's ability?
The competing and shoemaking really builds the skills at the anvil, uh, and that is going to make the job so much easier. When the more skill you have, the easier job is going to be.
Okay.
But that's only half the job. That's why I say the education part. Because if you don't have the education to back what you're doing at the anvil, then it's only half the job.
Do you feel in your time doing this, you're saying it's improving? Why do you see that improvement? What's changed in that time?
The associations are offering more avenues for education, and the camaraderie between the farriers, that they work together. I see it all just steadily improving, people working together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That wasn't the case when you first started?
No, years ago everybody was doing their own thing and not talking very much. So yeah, it's really improved a lot over the years. Yeah.
What aspect of the skill and or the industry do you find challenging? Why and what are you doing, if anything, to address that challenge?
Uh, I would say the business aspect of it. Uh, we are a small business as farriers, and I don't think farriers are necessarily alone, but they are notoriously poor business people, and so I think the business management end of things it's challenging for sure, and I think a lot of people would benefit if they had more business skills.
Yeah, yeah. Is any of that offered like up here? Do any of the clinics? We're at this clinic today. Have you been to clinics where they maybe talk about how to manage a business better or some of the things you should be doing?
Not as much as there needs to be.
Yeah.
You know, there have been a few over the years, and there are some speakers, presenters that excel at business management, and they have done clinics, but there's not enough of them.
Yeah.
Really.
Tell me one story about a success you've had in the business.
I guess to me, like the pinnacle, if you want to call it that, of my businesses was when one of the horses I shoe made it onto the Olympic team and competed for Canada
Nice.
at the Olympics. I've had two since then on the Olympic team, but that's that really brings home the satisfaction of the business.
Nice. What, if anything, do you wish owners knew?
Just more horsemanship skills, really. There's a lot more horse owners, and they're not so much horse people. They own the horses, but they don't really know that much about them.
Yeah.
The everyday animal husbandry. When I got into it, everybody was or shouldn't say everybody, most of the horse owners were, sometimes second, third generation horse people.
Right.
So they knew the animal and knew how to look after them and care for them. And now there's so many people that own horses that don't have any skills at all or knowledge in that respect.
Why do you think that is? What would happen?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't really know why, how that change came about.
Yeah.
It could be maybe the barns are getting bigger, the training barns, where the owners have very little to do with the everyday care of their horses.
Yeah. Last one for you. Vet, farrier, trainer, farrier collaboration can be an issue for some. And it's a hot button topic. Do you have any issues collaborating with veterinarians? If so, why? If not, why are you not experiencing the issues that maybe some other guys and girls in the business are?
I think as a farrier, historically we've been looked at as not as well educated as the vets, and so I think you need to make an extra effort to become part of the team, instead of being at loggerheads, be part of the team and be working with the vets. And that would fall right in line with the education. We need to be able to talk to other professionals in a professional language, and deal with them. And certainly the way I went about it, because I don't have an issue now working with the vets, but after 45 years, they all kind of know me. But I made an extra effort to work with vets when anytime there was an issue with a horse that involved both the vet and myself. I always made sure that I was part of that team working with the vet and not working separate from the vet.